Alternate Universe podcast episode 2, where everything is as natural, recycled, local, and ethical as possible. I'm your host, Kim. You might know me as kimsmithhappy from all over the interwebs. I am most active on Instagram and Twitter, and I am a local yarn shop owner, a knitter, a spinner, a dyer. I dabble in some crochet and lots of other crafty things. I also have chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, which is why our shop is only open half of the week. So welcome to everyone who watched the first podcast. I cannot believe how much response I got from it, how much positive response. I am so just blown away. Thank you so much. Let's get started. The first thing, let's do a little catch up. It's been Christmas and New Year's since I last spoke to you guys. In the shop, we normally have our big knitting group, our all-day knitting group on a Sunday, but because Christmas Day and New Year's Day fell on a Sunday this year, we decided to do it on a Saturday on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And actually, so many people came, and it was really wonderful. We got to hang out and talk about knitting and talk about mince pies and all kinds of crazy stuff. It was just really touching that people wanted to spend a little bit of their Christmas Eve with us. That means a lot. So thank you to everyone who came, and thank you to everyone who watched the podcast during that week. I absolutely love it. Let me show you. I made some little ornaments for the knit group. Let me go get those. So here's the little box that I put all of the ornaments in. My dad, we had a tree in our garden that needed the branches cutting because they were sort of going into the neighbor's yard and stuff. So instead of throwing away the branches, Dad cut them into slices for us, and then I painted on them. And I tried to keep them knitting themed. So here we have one. You can see it's got a little painting of a knitted hat on it, and we signed them on the back. So these were from Mom and me. And then here's a little Christmas jumper and a little Christmas tree. And I really love these little knitted sort of fabric with the hearts in them. And I did some special ones for our knitters who come every single week, and it was really fun, inside jokes and stuff. So I really enjoyed doing that. So that was sort of Christmas in the shop. And then New Year's, I went to a New Year's Eve party by my friend Sam, who incidentally did the intro music for the podcast and the little transition music. It was so much fun. I've actually took some videos of us making the song, so I'll probably post a vlog about that at some point. But yeah, we had a party at his house, and it was amazing. And one of the things that I kept asking everyone was, what was their guilty pleasure of 2016? So I'd like you, if you want to, tell me in the comments below, what was your biggest guilty pleasure of 2016? Mine was Iggy Azalea. Now, I just love her music. I love her sass. I know the words to too many of her songs. And I've listened to her music in the mornings to get myself pumped up for the day. I don't know, at least half of the year. So that's my big guilty pleasure of 2016. Not strictly knitting related, but anyone else out there, Iggy Azalea fans, let me know. I just think she is just amazing. So I'm not going to be doing any resolutions per se, but I do want to say, because I didn't know when I did the first episode sort of how often I wanted to do these podcasts, but I'm going to attempt once a fortnight. For those of you non-UK residents, fortnight means every 2 weeks. So that's the plan. Given I do have a chronic illness and I run a yarn store and life gets crazy sometimes, so it might not always be every 2 weeks, like on a specific day, but that's the plan. I'd like to share with you guys every 2 weeks. That also gives me enough time to like actually knit stuff, if that makes sense. I'm not the quickest knitter in the world, and I do have to spend a lot of my time working on stuff in the shop, but yeah, I think every 2 weeks is going to be a really good thing, at least 2 podcasts a month. So yeah, and then there'll always be like little vlogs and stuff here and there. If you like the daily vlog kind of aspect, I do vlog on Instagram stories, sort of like little snippets, and this week I rolled up a bunch of mini skeins just for fun, and I sort of shared the process on Instagram stories, and a lot of you guys like that. So follow me on Instagram if you like. I have a personal Instagram, which is kimsmithhappy, and then I have a shop Instagram, which is AUshopUK. And yeah, so the personal Instagram is not just knitting and spinning and stuff, but it's got nerdy stuff and stuff about living with a chronic illness and my cat, my adorable cat, and lots of other stuff. So there you go. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you there and connecting with you guys. It's been wonderful. We've had a bunch of new followers. Shout out to Molly from Homespun House, who posted a photo of her watching the podcast. And yeah, hi from everyone who came from her. I love Molly from Homespun House. She is amazing. I actually ordered one of her yarns as a Christmas present to myself. I ordered it after Christmas, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that. I'm really excited. It'll be my first skein from her. So without further ado, let's get into the proper podcast sections. I'm gonna swap it around a little bit this week because I need to start with stash enhancements, because I might have cast on a new project this week. Stash enhancement I have is actually a book, and this was gifted to me by one of our knitting group, by Julie. Thank you, Julie. She's Midlife Crochet on Instagram. If that's not the best username, I don't know what is. So this is Once Upon a Knit. She said she found it in a little bookstore in Bristol or Weston, and she just thought it looked like me, and it totally is. There are a bunch of projects in here that I want to make, including there's like a chainmail hoodie, which I think is the coolest thing ever. Look at that. And I am kind of tempted. There's a kid's tutu in here as well that I just kind of want to knit in an adult size. But yeah, I'm trying to not cast on until I finish some more of my works in progresses. So there's a bunch of nice things in here. It's written by Genevieve Miller, and the publisher is Pottercraft. So I love it. Beautiful. I haven't tried knitting anything from here yet, so I can't say how good the patterns are. Thank you for thinking of me, Julie. This is a wonderful present. I love it. And the other stash enhancement I have was also a gift. Now, I've already started knitting with this, so I'll have to show you the ball band and then the yarn separately. So my mom let me open a gift on Christmas Eve, and it was from Stranded Dye Works. Which, if you don't know who Stranded Dye Works are, this is my friend Amy Florence, and she has been dyeing yarn for just over a year now, and she has a podcast as well. I love her yarns, all of it. We carry a little bit of it in store. It does sell out very quickly. So we usually only have around like 5 skeins in the store at a time. But anyway, I got a sock blank for Christmas, and it's one of her paint box, so it's one of a kind. Here it is in all of its glory. It's mostly gray and white with bits of black and bits of sort of navy, and I don't know, like, I don't know if you can see here, but the black or the navy has sort of bled a little bit and gone almost like rusty. And I love it. It's so, 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 so pretty. It's just absolutely gorgeous. This was actually the only fiber gift I got for Christmas. And I tell you what, is worth it. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now we will see a little bit more of this in a minute. Because let's go to works in progresses. Alright, you guys, Christmas Eve cast on. The little Bobbins Christmas Eve cast on. I participated this year and I cast it on a pair of socks. Now the only reason why I was allowed to open this Christmas present on Christmas Eve was because Mom knew that I'd want to use it straight away and use it for my Christmas Eve cast on. So I did, but I didn't just use it by itself. You know how I have been lusting after a Newt Scamander Hufflepuff scarf from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them? Well, I decided to make some socks. Oh man, I absolutely love this. The gray portion, or the black of the scarf, is of course stranded dye work sock blank, and then the yellow is Hedgehog Fibres, and I believe this is the 24 karat colorway. I got this skein from a yarn story, which is a beautiful yarn store in Bath that specializes in hand dyed yarns, indie dyed yarns. Oh my god, it's absolutely gorgeous and super, super soft. I wonder if I've got the ball band in here. Yes, I do. So this is the Hedgehog Fibres ball band. There's the front and there's the back. So this is superwash merino and nylon. Again, I feel like superwash and nylon is a bit overkill, but it's Hedgehog Fibres. It's supporting an indie dyer, and I also got it at a local store. The owner of a yarn store is super, super nice, so I had to buy something while I was there. So I got this, and the socks are actually knitting up really quickly. I had no idea that they would knit up so quickly. I started from the toe. This is my like standard sock recipe. I started with the toe and increased and did that, and then I'm doing 10 rows of each color. And I'm just going until I think it's going to be long enough. I'm going to put it in an afterthought heel. And I absolutely love it. I've been knitting on it in like every spare moment I have. It's so pretty. I absolutely love it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I love the way that the colors are kind of pooling. I don't know if you can see here, the yellow is like kind of doing a diagonal stripe. And I think they look really great together. The only problem is I got 2 skeins of 100 grams that I'm making for 1 pair of socks. So I'm going to have some leftovers. So I don't know if I should then just make like another pair of the same kind or what. But I am so happy. I'm so happy that I finally... ever since I saw Fantastic Beasts, I've had this itch to make something in these colors, in this like faded, worn out, kind of, not tweedy, but marled, like speckly gray, with the yellow, and of course Hufflepuff Pride, you know. I am absolutely in love with this. I just love it so much. So, yes, I could just show you, I could show this off all day. I have been using a little progress keeper to see like how much I've knitted every day, just to keep me motivated. So nice. Oh, before we go to the next part, I can't believe I almost forgot to tell you guys, but so my Hufflepuff socks. I'm coming to the point where it's about time to do a cuff, I think, because I don't want them too long. I want them to peek out of my boots, but I don't want them to like come up all the way to my knees. So I have said this before, and I will probably do this all the time, but I always end up wanting to do like some sort of fancy cuff. I am thinking I might try doing a brioche cuff, like a 1x1 brioche. I've never done brioche before, guys, and I need to learn the technique, because if someone comes in here asking for help, I want to be able to help them out and, you know, solve their problems or whatever. So I need to practice. I need to learn this technique. So what do you think? Do you think it'll be a bit overkill? Because these stripes are going this way, and the brioche would be going, the stripes would be going this way. The knitting group said I should go ahead and do it, but I'd like your opinion as well. I think I'm going to love it no matter what. Originally, because the toe is gray, I want to do the heels in gray as well, and then I was going to do a gray cuff. But if I do a brioche, I can do gray as the predominant color with a little bit of yellow peeking through. Let me know, because I really can't decide. If I am going to do it, no matter what, I'm going to finish this yellow stripe and then go into the cuff. So I might just start the second one before I've decided what I'm going to do on the cuff, because that way I can just keep knitting on it. Anyway, the other thing that I picked up and was working on this week was a baby cardigan. Well, it's a toddler cardigan for my cousin. I showed it in the whips, the sort of podcast whips. And look, I split for the front. So here it is. I think this week I've only done like from here up. So I haven't done a whole bunch, but I did pick it up. It's absolutely lovely, and I really like this tweed. I really like tweed. I think tweed is going to be my new obsession this year. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I do love it. And I have bought some stuff to make my own tweed hand spun. So I'm forecasting a lot of tweed in my future. So this is what the back looks like, and the front has this beautiful cable on it. Just to refresh your memory, it's a very slow going project. I only pick it up every now and again, but I'm really happy to have made some progress on it this week. So yeah, that's what I've been working on this week. I do have some spinning to share with you. Sort of a follow-up from last podcast. Do you remember that cake of Tour de Fleece yarn that I just finished in singles? I said that it was super bouncy and twisty. Well, I went ahead and plied it up, and look how it is hanging. There is hardly any twist here in this hank. This is straight off of the bobbin. I'm in love with it. It's plied up really nicely. It's quite a loose ply, actually, which I was surprised about. I'll give you some close-up shots here while I talk about it. So I just plied it up with some coned yarn. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. Oh man, it's so pretty. You get like these peaks of this dark blue and then the brighter green. I still don't know what pattern I'm going to use this yarn for, but I love it, and I'm so glad that the plying helped it just relax a lot. I don't know if you can see it, but it's way more relaxed than it was before. So that is a win. I like almost want to say this is a finished object, but it's spinning, so it kind of goes in with the whips. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So it hasn't had a bath yet. I don't even know if it needs a bath because it's hanging so nicely already. But yes, I'm thinking like this might be a hitchhiker shawl. So lovely. I have another spinning project too. From the last podcast, you might remember I had some singles on a bobbin that I was really eager to ply up. I have plied it up now, and you're seeing another bobbin shot. Have a look at that. So this is an Ackerworks bobbin, of course. Love them. A little bit expensive to get over here, but I absolutely love them. I only have one, and it's my pride and joy. So this is a self-striping sock yarn. Now I've plied it with this here, which is a machine knitting cone that I have. It's super, super thin, and it's kind of got a tweed look to it. It's definitely got a marl to it. There's several different colors. It's like a dark brown with a sort of fawn. Really, really pretty. I thought it would add a really nice color to this. It would make it sort of less stark. And it does. It looks really, really nice. And I like how it works with all the different colors. This is the messiest bobbin ever. I'm sorry. I'm gonna roll it into a self-striping ball. So, yeah. I'm really, really happy with it. I really like how it is, again, it's quite a loose ply. Just get a little bit for you to see there. So it's quite a loose ply, because obviously the machine knitting cone doesn't have any twist in it at all when I do it. So it's very loose, but it's beautiful. Now I've done some self-striping sock yarn like this in the past, not these colors, but I've done like a Hulk and things like that, which I'm gonna try and get into the shop because I love self-striping. And yeah, I love self-striping, and hand spun is so special. Now the reason why I don't do a 2-ply hand spun for sock yarn is because to spin this thin takes forever, and if I was gonna sell these in the shop, I'd have to sell them for like 50 quid or something for the time it takes, which no one's gonna buy that. So by doing it 1-ply hand spun, 1-ply machine cone, it allows me to keep the cost down. So yeah, I really love it. And it's just, there's a lot of yardage in 100 grams of sock yarn. So it takes a long time to spin, but it is one of my favorite things to do. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this looks in the ball as well. So there you go, last little look on this one. This is colorways from my Halloween costume fiber. So there we go. So really that's it for what I've been working on. Let's move on to some finished objects. So if you guys have seen the works in progress video, you will know that I have a bazillion projects on the go, and because of that I can't really justify casting on any new projects until I finished some. Now a lot of people have been telling me, a lot of my friends have been saying, you're not allowed to cast on anything else until you've finished all of your works in progresses. And I'm like, that's a bit harsh, you guys. That's a bit harsh. So Mom and I have come up with this rule where I have to finish 2 of my works in progresses before I can cast on 1 new project. And I think that is 100% fair, because what that means is eventually I'll get down to 0 works in progresses. So if I have 5 and I finish 2 and I cast on 1, and then I finish 2, and then I cast on 1, and then I finish 2 and I cast on 1, and I finish 2 and I cast on 1, I'll have 1 project left. So I want to get down to about 3 works in progresses. So you might be saying, but Kim, you cast on a new project this week. And that is 100% true. I absolutely did. And the only reason why I could do that is because I have 2 finished objects to share you. I have 2 pairs of socks to share with you guys that I finished. So the first finished object I have to show is this beautiful pair of socks. Oh my gosh, you guys, I forgot to sew an ending. Ah! Is this beautiful sock. Well, I have 2 of them. I have 2. It is a finished object. And this yarn was from Prick Your Finger when they were open. I think it's hand dyed by them. And it's got this really pretty sort of heart lace pattern down the front. I can't remember where I got this pattern from. I will link it in the show notes. By the way, if you don't know, I put all the show notes in the description down below. So there's links to everything that I talk about, and also the time where each section is. So like if you're not into spinning, you can like skip ahead to finished objects or whatever. So anyway, so this sock is absolutely lovely, and I love the sort of slip stitch heel that's going on here. It's quite long. The only thing is I think it's a little bit small for my foot. So I might have to gift these, which is a shame because they have been on my needles for several years, and I did not find this pattern very intuitive to memorize, so I found it a little bit difficult having to follow the chart like every single row. I think they are super, super gorgeous. I love them. I love them, and I could stare at them all day. And here's what it looks like, not on the display foot. It kind of looks like a woolly bladder, because I haven't blocked it yet. But, oh my gosh, another end, you guys. So yeah, it looks much better when it's on, obviously. Maybe I need to block it, and then it'll look better, but here we go. A pair of socks. Done. The other finished object I have is this pair of socks. Yay! Now, I started this sock almost a year ago. I think I cast it on around about Christmas time, 2015. So, you know, it's one of those ones that got thrown in my bag, and I only worked on it like a couple rows at a time. But it's lovely, and I am really glad that it's finished, because this is not a yarn that I specifically can recommend. I don't remember what yarn it is. I think I got it at the spinning wheel in Clevedon. No, I didn't. No, that's a total lie. I got this yarn at a yarn store in, oh my god, where is it? In Cheddar, possibly? There is a very small craft shop. I think it's called Time Out, and you go in and there's no room at all, like, to walk around. You have to like so it's very full, but there's a lot of stuff in there, not necessarily very ethical or anything like that, but I always find it interesting to see how different yarn stores are laid out. So yeah, I went in there with some friends and I bought a skein of yarn, and this was it. And yeah, it's pretty. Again, tweedy. I loved it, but not the most ethical yarn in the world. So I did this toe up, I believe, and it's just got a very tiny 1x1 rib cuff here. I did an afterthought heel, which I really like afterthought heels in self-striping yarn, because you get this target sort of pattern, and yeah, and then I just Kitchenered it shut. So yeah, really happy. These will probably be gifted to someone, because they're not the most ethical socks in the world, but I do like the tweediness of it. So again, it's like, you have to sort of weigh up, you know, what's going to work for you. But there's quite a lot of yarn in my stash that I bought before I started really taking note of where it was being made, how it was being made, the effect on the environment, the effect on the animals, the effect on the people that were making it, that were involved in the process of it. So this is an example of one of those balls of wool where I just liked the color or the texture of it, and I bought it without really thinking about the effect of the environment on and the effect of the welfare of people that were involved in it. So it feels great to use it up and to have a finished object, but I can't say I would buy this yarn again, or that I necessarily like it or feel good about having it because of those reasons. That's just a personal choice, something that I have been striving to do a lot more in the last 2 years since the shop's been open. It's difficult because there aren't always the answers to the questions that you want to ask, and to ask like the shop owner, like, do you know if the wool is, you know, treated with chemicals? Do you know if the sheep had good welfare? Do you know if the address on this ball band is actually where the wool is made, or if that's just the offices? So it's difficult. And when I think about probably, now I don't know this for this specific company, I don't even remember who made this yarn, but if you think about the air mileage and the carbon footprint of some of this yarn. Some of this yarn is it's grown in, the sheeps are grown up in Australia, for example, and then, or New Zealand, and then they're shorn possibly unethically, and then it's shipped to Chile where it's dyed, and then it's shipped to China where it's spun, and then it's shipped back to America where their offices are, and then it's shipped all over the world. And I just, when you think about that is absolutely crazy. When there are places that use the yarn from the sheep that are local, spin it in a local mill, dye it there, and and then sell it on from there. I don't know. I just feel like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? I find it difficult to explain, because every yarn company is different, and every person has their own sort of moral compass and their own ethical radar, as I will. But yeah, I like to know if this stuff has been flown around the world or if it's been made locally and that kind of stuff. I've gone off on a bit of a tangent here. I'm sorry, but that's kind of what this podcast is about. And yeah, it's something that I hadn't thought about until I joined the Craftivist Collective. Oh gosh, 6 years ago or something, and I started investigating, where do my clothes come from? How are my clothes produced? How is the yarn produced? And when I learned, all these amazing companies that I love, like that their stuff was actually being flown all over the world to make it, it made me sit back and go, wow, why would they need to do that when there's mills here that can do it? I don't know. So, off on a tangent, but I'm really glad that these socks are done, and I'm glad that they look pretty, but I probably won't be buying this yarn again. So, yay, finished object. On the same sort of thread that I was just talking about, I'm trying to use up the stash that I have because there's no point in it going to waste. And then everything that I buy now, I try and really think about. I'm going to be buying this, which means it's a vote from my wallet. Is this ethically made? Is it locally made? Is it natural? Has it been recycled in any way? So it's just like what a bunch of YouTubers have been doing with their beauty routine and their beauty care. They've been using up their cosmetics and products that they have and then replacing it with cruelty-free items. So that's kind of what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing with my yarn stash. Anyway, rant over. Let's move on. Let's move on and talk about knit-alongs. There have been a lot of knit-alongs going around the podcasting community at the moment that people are starting. And I want to join in, but I have this finished object rule, right? I have to finish 2 things before I can cast on a new one. So I'm a little bit nervous about saying, yes, I 100% am going to do this knit along because I don't know, like, if I'm going to have the time to do it. But there are a couple that I really want to do. And one of them is Inside Number 23. She is doing... That's the name of the podcast. She's doing a year-long knit-along, which is all Harry Potter themed. Now, if that is not right up my alley, I don't know what is. And I'm super bummed that we're not allowed to use stuff that we cast on in 2016 because my Hufflepuff socks would be perfect for it. But anyway, maybe I can include just one sock because it's not a pair of socks. She did say that the smallest item had to be 50 grams, and I think my one sock is going to be over 50 grams. So I don't know if that's allowed. I might ask and see what the response is, but it's basically try and knit 6 finished objects somehow relating to Harry Potter, whether the yarn is Hogwarts related or the pattern is, or something about it reminds you of some part of the wizarding world. And I love that. I'm a huge Potter nerd, and I think that would be really awesome. So I'm considering joining in on the Harry Potter knit along with the Inside Number 23 gang. And then the other one is by Valentine, and her box of socks year-long knit along, where you knit 12 pairs of socks for the whole year. That sounds really exciting to me. I have no idea if I'd be able to do that. Like, I've never really sat down and thought, how many pairs of socks a year do I knit? But a pair a month sounds totally doable. Sounds totally doable. I don't know, does it? Can we include kids' socks in that? But yeah, I'd love to try. I think that would tie in a lot with the other stuff that I'm working on. So that's one that I'm thinking of doing. Are you guys thinking about joining in any of those? Have you already started? I'd love to know. There are two other sort of knit along things that I have been really tempted by. There's the granny stripe blanket, which I have resisted starting. I love a good granny stitch in crochet. I love it, and I do have so much yarn I could use. I've got loads and loads of scraps left over from making yarn in the store, and I've got like a whole room upstairs full of odds and ends. But I'm not allowed to cast on a new project until I finish 2 more. So that is one that I'm really tempted to start. I'm also incredibly tempted to start a Find Your Fade shawl. Those things are so beautiful, and I love the color combinations people are coming up with. So nice. I don't know if I would feel okay with committing 7 skeins of really nice indie dyed yarn to it, though. Like, that's a huge commitment. I know Brooklyn Knit Folk podcast was just talking about that, and I agree. I think that's a lot of yarn to commit to a shawl, but at the same time, it's so bloody beautiful. It's so beautiful. So I was thinking about maybe making up some kits of recycled yarn in nice sort of gradients. I think that would be really pretty. But yeah, I mean, the Find Your Fade thing has just been going round and round and round in my head, and I really want to try it, and I love gradients and color swooshing and changing, and so pretty, and oh my god. So that's something else that I've been thinking about. So I don't know, I might cast that on as my next cast on. I'm very, very severely tempted, and I can totally justify it as a shop sample if I use shop yarn, right? Oh dear. That leads on very, very nicely to what's new in store. So for those of you who don't know, I do what I call recycled yarn, and that's where I take machine cone yarn and I put a whole bunch of different strands together to make up the weight of yarn that I want to use for hand knitting, and it creates some really beautiful effects. So for example, if that wasn't very clear description, basically I adopt these cones, which originally were supposed to be used for knitting machines that are sitting in someone's attic or rotting away in someone's garage and will never be used again. And I adopt them and put them together in nice color combinations. Well, what I think are nice color combinations anyway. And so you've got like one strand from this one and one strand from this one, and that would probably make a sock yarn. And one strand from this cone, and let's say one strand from this cone, and we wind them together. And so this would probably make like a nice double knit. Might be a little bit thick for a double knit, but so I wind them together, and you knit them all as if they were one piece of yarn, one strand of yarn. So if you've ever had a pattern that called for double knit, but all you had in your stash was sock yarn, and you doubled them up to create the right gauge. That is basically what I'm doing here, but I'm creating it with loads of different strands. It's actually really easy to knit with, but a lot of people are kind of like scared and they're like, won't it split, and like all that kind of stuff. I want to do a little tutorial video where I show you like me working with it. A lot of people have no problem with it at all once they get going. It only takes like the first row or so to get used to using multiple strands, making sure you catch every strand in every stitch. But it's a shop favorite in the shop, and it's something that I have not seen anywhere else. So yeah, it's kind of unique to us. We wind it up in a couple of different yarn weights. We've got sock yarn in cakes, 50-gram cakes, and sock yarn in mini skeins by themselves or in sets. We've also got it in double knit, 50-gram cakes. We've got it in a chunky, I guess you would probably call this a super chunky, because I would use a size 8 to 10 millimeter needle, and these are in 200-gram cakes. And then we've got 100 ply yarn, which is super chunky. I would use a size 20 millimeter needles for this, and you knit it like that's one strand there. That's the yarn that you use. So we do it in a couple of different sizes, and this week I have been winding up some mini skeins, and I absolutely love it. Now, some of the yarn is really easy to make. Like the cakes are very easy to wind up because we have an electric winder, so we can wind these up no problem, which keeps the cost down a lot. So for 50 grams it's £1.50, which is crazy cheap, you guys. But it's because the yarn we get really cheap and then we wind it up for you, so it's, you know, it just takes time for me to pick the colors and time to sit and wind it. But yeah, so that's these guys. And then we've got the mini skeins, which take a little bit longer. Now, mini skeins in general take longer to wind because you have to sit there and hand wind them, and they're so small and they take forever. Anyone who's wound mini skeins will know that they take forever. And now we've been selling them for 50p for one skein, or £2.50 for a pack, £2.50 for a pack of 5. That gives you 50 grams of yarn approximately. Each skein is 40 yards. That means that you could knit a pair of socks for a $5, you guys. All of our mini skeins are in what we call 4-ply or sock weight yarn, and I absolutely love them. But the truth is that they take way too long to make, so I'm gonna have to put the price up a little bit. So instead of £2.50 for a pack, they're gonna be £3.50 for a pack of 5. Now this is only happening on the 20th of January, so I am trying to get all of our current mini skeins up in the online shop so that you guys can buy them at the original £2.50 price for a pack before January the 20th. Now, on January the 20th, all of our old mini skein colors, if there are any left, and any new colors will be at the new price of £3.50 for a pack. So if you want to get these amazing mini skeins, you'll need 2 packs for a pair of socks. Otherwise they work great for color work, granny stripe blankets, mitered squares, hexapuffs, all of that jazz. If you want to get them at the original price, shop our store before January 20th. Any orders placed on January 20th and afterwards will be the new price. So that's what I've been doing. I've been updating. Let me show you the colors that we've got. I put up 3 packs of colors in the shop this week. This one here, which I've been flashing around, sorry about that. This is the Luke Cage colorway. Come on, guys. Sit up nice and straight. They don't want to behave. So we've got a whole bunch of neutrals, grays and blacks with a really nice pop of yellow. And I've written a really great description on the thing so you can see what it's inspired by. But basically, Luke Cage is the love interest of Jessica Jones, who is a Marvel superhero lady. I absolutely love these colors. This would also work really well for Hufflepuff out there. I'm just saying. So that's Luke Cage. These are in the shop. I think there's probably like 5 sets of these left. So if you want one, go grab one. Along those same lines, we've got another Marvel superhero that I love. This one is Falcon. Again, lots of grays and blacks and neutrals, and then a pop of sort of red. This reflects his outfit and what I think of. This is Falcon, who, if you don't know, is a sort of best friend to Captain America. And he's got these amazing, like, engineered wings that he, like, flies around with. He's really badass. Very, very cool. Very sort of niche, I would say. So if you've got a Marvel lover and you get them these, it might take them a minute to click. But yes, I love these colors. Again, I think there's about 5 left in the shop. And then this one, which is, I guess it's an autumn colorway, but I thought I'd throw it on the website anyway because if you're like me, I love autumn colors all year round. This is Jack-o'-lantern. Lots of orange and brown. And this one here has some purples in it and some grays. I don't know how well the colors are showing up, but maybe I'll insert a picture of the product photo so you guys can see it. But this is Jack-o'-lantern, obviously inspired by witchy pumpkins with little, you know, little faces and lights gleaming in the windows at night. And I love Halloween. Halloween's my favorite holiday. So I love these guys. I think there are less of these than there are of the other ones, but this is in the shop right now as well. And then I have 3 more colors, well, 3 more sets that are going to go into the shop this coming week. So let me show you those. These ones I actually did really recently. I love them so much. This one's called Bite Me, and it is an autumnal rainbow. It's pretty chill. The colors go really well together, not just in a rainbow order, but Midlife Crochet on Instagram did a hat in these and mixed up the color order to what I would have done, which is what I love about mini skeins. I love seeing which order you guys put them in. It always surprises me and I love it. So this is inspired like the rainbow, like the gay pride rainbow, and Bite Me is like B-I-T-E, like the bi is being represented. I don't know, I'm a dork, but I love this. And so there's 3 sort of plain colors and 2 that have lots of different things going on in it. And this purple is super, super pretty. I really like this purple. And this orange has this sort of crepe feel to it. It's very light and drapey, which is really interesting. So yes, I really like this. Rainbow-y ones. And then this one here, just kind of Christmassy. I didn't intend it to be Christmassy, but this one's called The Pit, and it's inspired by olives and olive pits, and I love it. This one, so each individual one, I can't remember what the names are, but when I was making the sock cakes, I made some cakes with these colors and I named them after the olives that they were inspired by. So this one here is the cocktail one, martini, I think, so with the red inside, and I just love them. So yeah, so lots of different lovely shades of green, and yeah, these ones, there's like no plain color in it, which I think is really interesting, and this one's got loads of texture on it. This would make some really cool socks. I love it. And I've got one more color to show you. Thank you, traffic outside. Much appreciated. The last color I have that will be going up in the shop at the £2.50 price is this one here, and this one's called Ashley June. These colors are inspired by a book called The Prey and The Hunt and the something. It's a series kind of about vampires, but it's about how the world has been taken over by these creatures, and there are like no more humans left, but there's like one human living in amongst them incognito, and it's really interesting. And Ashley June is a character that has like fiery hair, so I love these, and these colors just were inspired by the book basically. I think the author of the book is called Andrew Fukuda, so if you're interested, I'll definitely put it in the show notes. But yeah, I love this. And I've already started making a sample with it. As I said, these colors are pretty new to the shop. So this is a little sock, which is a sort of toddler kid size sock. And I've used black, the black color, as the base. So that's this one here, this black color as the base. And then I've used the other 4 pinks and purples as the sort of the stripe going across it. And I think it looks really cool. I'm going to put in an afterthought heel. I love the way this is turning out. This pattern is amazing. This pattern is from the Sock Anatomy book, which West Yorkshire Spinners has published by Claire Devine. And let's see if I can remember which pattern it is. This is the Osa pattern. And you can do it with as many or as little colors as you like. And it's a lot simpler than it looks. I love it. Highly recommend. Yes, my little Ashley June socks are coming along well. I haven't worked on them in a couple of weeks, but I probably should, because then I can call it a finished object, right? The other thing that is going in the shop this week are knitted Notion pouches. And of course, they're in Harry Potter colorways. Or more specifically, Hogwarts colorways. So these are all made by me and my mom as a joint team effort. I design the yarn using machine cone yarn again. So for example, the main color in this Gryffindor pouch is red, but it's not just red. It's like a dark maroon with like an orangey red and a sort of coral. So you get a really nice sort of variegated, almost speckly look to it, which is what all the machine cone yarns look like when they're multiple colors in one strand. Anyway, so I design the yarn and the design of the pouch, and then Mom sews them and puts them together. They are, I would say they're pretty much 100% recycled, because the machine cone yarn is the stuff we get that would otherwise be thrown away or ruined, and then inside is all fabrics that have either been donated to us or we find them secondhand, so reclaimed. And the zippers as well are from people's stashes that they don't want anymore. So I would say it's 100% recycled. Nothing in here has actually gone through the process of being broken down and made into something else, but I love these. They're the perfect size for all of your tape measures, gauges, double pointed needles, crochet hooks, scissors, everything you need on the go. It also is the perfect size for a pencil case, or your makeup bag. You know, your lipstick and your blush and all that kind of stuff goes perfectly in here. So we've got Gryffindor, we've got Slytherin. Oh, I should say that all the fabrics inside are different. They all match the outsides, but so for example, this Slytherin one is green, whereas some of the other ones have a slightly different pattern. So this is the Slytherin one with the silver stripe and a sort of tealy green color. I really like this because it reminds me of what the Slytherin common room would look like, with the light coming in from underneath the lake. I know, I'm a geek. We've got Ravenclaw with its traditional bronze color as its stripe, not silver. You guys, they messed up on the movies. Ravenclaw is blue and bronze. And here's a sneak peek at what the inside looks on it. I really love this color because it's like a royal blue and a sort of flecky gray blue and then a teal. I just love it. And of course the bronze is made up of a couple of different like browns and fawns. And then we've got Hufflepuff, my favorite house. And I think this one has a bright yellow inside, but some of the others have a black pattern and things like that. So you never know what you're going to get. And it's got our little label in there. It's all sewn in. And it's gorgeous. I love this. The black stripe has got a little bit of brown in it just to soften it up. And the yellow is a mix of like a goldenrod yellow and a sort of orangey yellow and a fawn sort of color, like a sort of tanny fawn color. It looks really pretty and I use mine all the time. I have one for my makeup bag. I have one for my little vaporizer. I have one in my project bags for all of my stuff. I have a pencil case. I even use one of these when we do craft fairs to keep all my money in a little pouch so I can give people change. Really versatile, really great. These run at 18 pounds for this size, and these will be going in the shop. We have about 3 to 4 of each house color. So yes, go check it out. They're super, super pretty. I think that's about all I have for updates in the shop. The only thing to do now is to get nerdy. I have 2 things to talk about in the nerd section this week. I just finished a series of audiobooks by Helen Harper. I'm not sure if it's classified as a young adult series because there's quite a lot of adult themes and sexual scenes and things like that, but I really enjoyed it. It's a sort of fantasy book. It's about I think the series is called Bloodfire. I know that's the name of the first book in the season anyway. There's like 5 or 6 books. I'm not entirely sure. I like to intersperse my audiobook listening. I like to have one sort of serious, good book, and then I like to have a sort of young adult, frilly sort of background listening book. And this was my frilly background reading book. Without giving away too much of the plot, there's a lot of shapeshifters and vampires and fairies and wizards and stuff like that in it. And the main character, has red hair and she's really fiery and she's got a temper and she lives with the shapeshifters, but she's not actually a shapeshifter herself. And in the first book, she finds out who she is and, whether or not she's human and where she fits in. And it's great. There's a lot of adventure. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's the best written book ever, but the main character is very feisty and she takes no shit, and she somehow manages to be independent and still have a love interest, which I think is super important for young girls reading these books. But yeah, anyway, it's a more mature young adult book, I would say, and I really enjoyed it. So there you go. It's actually, the main character is actually in her early 20s, which is a really nice change from, teenagers saving the world. So yeah, I really liked it. If you like that kind of stuff, I would recommend it. I think I need to update my Goodreads page. I definitely met my goal of how many books I wanted to read / listen to this year. I went over it. In fact, I met it like halfway through the year, and I'm very pleased. I am looking forward to the books that I'm going to read this year, and I think I need to set myself a goal. I think my goal was 40 books last year. Maybe it was 30. I can't remember. But I think 40 is a good number. I think that might be what I use this year. And then the other thing that I've been doing is watching Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park 2 and Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World. And I loved it. It was the first time that I'd really sat down and watched the whole series. I'd seen Jurassic Park 1 with some friends, and we watched the first half of Jurassic Park 2. And it's fun, you guys. It is fun. It's ridiculous. But I actually really enjoyed it. I even enjoyed Jurassic World, which, a lot of people were not that impressed with. But I really liked it. I have a little penchant for remaking movies. I love it when people take a story that we all know and they remake it in a different way, from a different perspective. I have enjoyed the entire series of the Triffids. There was one made in the 50s or the 70s, and then the 80s, and then there was a series done in the early 2000s, I think, and then the original book was written in the 50s. And I've read the book and I've watched all of those, and I love the different interpretations. I find it incredibly interesting how people change the story and how they adapt it. So I really enjoy Jurassic Park because it has that thing. It's like every film is like a remake of the original almost. Obviously it's not exactly, but I really liked it. What did I like about it? The characters are charming. You watch the show, you watch the movie, and halfway through it you're already invested and you hope that they don't die. You know that they will, but you hope that they don't. It's just a lot of fun, really. It's dinosaurs, isn't it? And running and screaming, and you know, the worst that could possibly happens. But yeah, so if you haven't had a chance to watch Jurassic Park, the trilogy, and Jurassic World, I would say go for it. I did a lot of knitting on my Hufflepuff sock, my Christmas Eve cast on sock, while watching it, and it was just really good fun. The other thing that I have been watching is the 4400 on Netflix, and that apparently is going to be taken off of Netflix this month. So I only found that out like on Boxing Day. So I have been binging it as much as I can because I want to finish the series before it gets taken down. It is not the best series I've ever watched. I'm just going to put that out there, but I like the concept of it. The concept is that people have disappeared throughout time, and then they all come back on the same day, and they haven't aged a day since they disappeared. So there's like a girl who disappeared when she was 8, and she comes back. She disappeared in like the 50s, and she comes back in like 2001 or whatever. She's the same age as she disappeared. And they tend to have abilities. So like one can see the future, and one can use telekinesis, and there's loads of different abilities, and the premise for it is really great. I think it could have been executed better, but yeah, and there isn't one specific character that I love, but all of the characters I like. So, well, except for a couple of them that I absolutely hate, but yeah, so it's very easy watching. I don't know if I would recommend starting it now as they're about to take it off Netflix. But if you like sort of light sci-fi, light fantasy, it's kind of got a little bit of the X-Files feel to it. There's this guy and this girl that are this investigating team, and they're a bit badass, and they kind of like take on all the problems, which I like. But anyway, yeah, so those are the nerdy things that I have been doing. I have been playing a lot of games on my phone as well. I don't know if you guys would be interested in hearing about that, or I might just post a little bit about that on my gaming channel. I haven't been posting on my gaming channel for ages, and I was just looking at The Sims. The Sims 4 have a new expansion pack called City Living, and I really want it, but I don't know if I can justify buying it. I'm supposed to be saving up for a PS4, so that's everything in my nerdy life. I have a little bit of a lip sync to Iggy Azalea, which if you want, I will tag it on at the end of this video if you want to see me being absolutely ridiculous. But other than that, I hope you guys are doing really well, and that you're getting lots of knitting done this holiday, and that you had a wonderful season of celebrating. Whatever you celebrate, I hope that you had a wonderful time. And even if you celebrate nothing, I hope you had a wonderful week of relaxing and eating too much and getting lots of knitting done. So that's it for me. Please remember that life is beautiful and hard, but mostly beautiful.